GM fam, it is Friday, February 2nd, the first day of the rest of our lives. And you know what that means. It's time to grab a beverage and everyone get down to the sound of a llama party.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I don't know what
Excellent.
sound
What?
llamas make. You maybe know that, Garrett. Like you were. I liked the video you sent on social media with you sitting with the llamas. This is an early video of you. It's so lovely.
Those were alpacas. They made a sound a bit like, "Nyeh," and then they pooped everywhere.
Yeah,
But
that's pretty cool.
gentlemen, I'm so glad you could join because there's been like a ton of news has happened around the Curve ecosystem, around like things generally. But first, let's get the important questions. It's a llama party. What beverage are you all consuming?
I just finished my coffee.
Oh boy, my beverage is on the way. My beverage is on the way. So give me 5, 10 minutes.
All right. We'll toast once your
Well,
beverage arrives. Is it going to be more like caffeinated to stay awake?
I'm teasing it. I'm announcing my beverage.
Okay, this could be a good one.
I'm still point farming my beverage, but my beverage is on the way. I need to farm some more points to buy my beverage.
Some llama juice, I take it.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, let me go ahead and bring up. There's as mentioned, a bunch of stories we want to talk about, but today we wanted to hear, especially from you, Deo. You are a guest of honor, just because I don't know if you've been following it. I hope you have. The biggest story in all of crypto lately has been the restaking. In particular, there is. Let me see if I can get this article up here. There has been Puffer Finance, which it launched, and within 24 hours, it quickly accumulated $135 million worth of deposits.
Yeah.
So this is enough to launch them. The DL News article listed it as the 5th largest. Since then, it's actually exploded to become the 3rd largest, behind just KelpDAO and Ether.fi. And it seems to me as if this has to be the sort of biggest story, the biggest narrative facing DeFi right now. And as it turns out, Deo, you're not just a Leviathan News contributor. You're also the co-founder of YieldNestFi. So you're particularly knowledgeable about this space. So I'd like to turn it over to you for some first thoughts. What's your thoughts on Puffer Finance, restaking, etc.?
Yeah, it's really cool to see restaking emerging so big nowadays, right? And it's like we made a pivot from yield nest into restaking. I wanted 7 months ago because we saw we were building DeFi optimizers, and we needed a lot of off-chain compute. And I was like, hey, that restaking can really help us with maybe solving DEX arbitrage issues, or creating off-chain MEV competitions, and then making so that we don't have so much impermanent loss on chain, right? So I saw a lot of really cool opportunities with restaking, which is basically a evolution of merge mining, where Satoshi Nakamoto also commented on himself while saying that merge mining can drastically increase the utility for the Bitcoin network, right? Unfortunately, that didn't really work out, merge mining, because of the nothing at stake issue. And now, full circle with restaking, we have the tool set and the tools with EigenLayer, but also the restaking primitive in general, to really expand the security model of our beloved ETH L1 settlement layer to other applications without launching a lot of new token models or launching a lot of new L1s. We can basically have one settlement assurance layer that we can expand into all these other applications, and then there will be no more need for all these. Theoretically, there will be no more need for all these other L1s, in the sense of them being the main settlement assurances, because we then can even secure Cosmos chains with ETH, right, or other cool stuff. So it's very, very exciting what's happening in the restaking space. I do think things are being front run a bit, because my question with a lot of the LRT protocols that are now being released is more what is the long-term vision, right? We know that, for example, Puffer is great. That I met the team in Istanbul, so they're all great people. But what is the long-term vision? I know that we're releasing $200 million TVL, but they're all farming points, right? So what do people understand what restaking is and what the implications are, or are we just farming points? I think it's a bit of both, and that's probably fine. But I'm looking very much forward to dig into the real innovations that will come soon for restaking. Yeah.
We had on a guest, I think, a couple of days ago that was talking about like thinking about eigenlayer at a more mature state, right? So there's $27 billion worth of ETH that's staked right now. And let's just assume that like half goes into eigenlayer, right? Of that. So that's about $10 billion. So in order to generate 100 billion or like a 1% yield to add on to the 3% that people are making from staking, that's going to have to be like what, $100 million a year in fees that are generated. So I think the question is like, can the AVSs generate that much like actual yield, not just like tokens that get dumped on somebody? Can that much revenue be generated from eigenlayer, let's say in like, I don't know, in the next 3 to 4 years at a semi-mature state?
Yeah, I think it will be, but we will need more real applications to be built, right? So Altlayer, for example, did their airdrop, amazing, congratulations to the Altlayer team, but it's not live yet, right? Or what I'm very excited about is Spice AI, who is building like AI agents, and then you can like run your specific AI agents via an AVS, right? That's very exciting, because then you can have like set like assurances that your large language model is the actual large language model that you want to run. And one thing that I'm also excited about is like insurances on chain, or even like intents or things like that. And I think once the market matures, there will be a lot of value accrual in the restaking era. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be bigger than liquid staking derivatives by itself, right?
Well, there's a long way to go. I mean, this is cryptofees.info. We're looking at like Uniswap is generating about $1 million a day. So it's about $360 million a year in fees, or maybe $500 million in fees. Aave is generating about $500,000 a day, and MakerDAO is generating about $240,000 a day right now. I mean, this is just like a 1 day, 24-hour snapshot. But we're going to have more applications that are generating a lot more fees from eigenlayer to be able. I mean, you'll have to have something that is eigenlayer will have to generate close to like $300,000-$400,000 a day in actual revenue to get towards that $100 million mark. But I think it's possible,
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
because it's not only crypto related stuff, right? Like, and I think there is a lot of education to be done there. So basically, because of restaking, we can use layer 1 settlement assurances in a variety of applications, right? We are basically then issuing the real internet of blockchains, where if you are a software developer or engineer or business person that thinks about a concept to build, we need censorship resistant like settlement assurances from this ledger Ethereum. We can then really plug that into our applications much easier, right? It's what the Shiram calls like open innovation. So innovation and building applications will become simpler, and we don't need and all these applications will not really need their own specifically need their own tokens, right? There will be service layers, other layers that will benefit from tokens, but not everything needs a token, especially not in the restaking era, I would say.
Could you talk a bit about Yield Nest and where you fit in this whole thing?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So basically, with Yield Nest, what we're trying to do from the beginning was like, okay, when I stumbled upon resale, it's like, wow, that's very risky. So how are we going to, with my background with risk stuff, which I always find like fascinating, on the edge of like what could go wrong and how can we push the industry forward. I was trying to see like what risks are there, and how can we expand restake, and how can I use that to make DeFi more usable and make DeFi bigger than C5. I was like kind of going from that mindset. And then I was thinking about the different strategies that we can build and isolating these different strategies, and how can we not only just like farm points, but how will this look in the future? And that's basically what Yieldness is going to do, with like really specific isolated strategies for specific like AVSs that will come, right? And you could even build a decentralized front end while using Yieldness, by saying like, oh, I want to run a specific front end on an AVS. Well, we can help with the resource planning of that. We will not do the whole load balancing and things like that. There's other protocols that do that, but it's from the research point of view, like how do you get enough capital, and how do you get the right nodes for your AVS, and how do you kind of like how do you manage all that, and then that will help restakers, node operators, and AVSs. Yeah.
It's good stuff. That's good stuff. We got a question in the comments from Pat M, who asks, this is a question I've been wondering about too. Does anyone else feel wildly overwhelmed with all these restaking options
Yeah.
and airdrop points farming? Because there's an article a few days ago in which basically it was announced that like there had been something like $40 billion worth of points that had been tallied. And then Leviathan News upped the ante by releasing 960 billion, bringing it to an even 1 trillion points out there.
It's very overwhelming, and it's gonna be airdrop season, right? Like with all these AVSs that are going live and all these points. But I do think we need to be a bit careful there. I mean, I like points, and I listen to Bankless and I take on points, and I think points are awesome because we can like easily see like kind of experiment with things. But we should not forget why we joined crypto. We should not all trust points, right? So we need to try to maybe build in some more assurances with those commitments that people do, right? But yeah, it is definitely very exciting, but very overwhelming indeed. Yes.
Can
The
I
point
stake my
stuff
points
is,
through?
I'm
Go
just
ahead,
saying
DeFi
that
advisor.
the point stuff is really overwhelming. Happened so fast. No one knows what's actually going on, and where are the airdrops?
And I would say that Yieldness will definitely play a very crucial role in that. I will not release too much about it, but like if you want to navigate your way in a very secure way with the most secure contracts, and not just like over hasty releases, we are going to release a way so that people can actually navigate this restaking space in a more clear way, and also understand why they're restaking and what they're actually doing, right? Because we're restaking because we want to give part of our economic security to applications that will need that economic security, and we do that to make our blockchain space, make the blockchain more secure, and extend the functionality of this L1 blockchain. And I think as restakers, you kind of probably want to pick a protocol that actually will do that, but then have like specific strategies, and then you can pick specific strategies, or you will be able to have a basket and we pick strategies for you. So it's now very overwhelming, but it's going to become more clear. And I think we need to go back to first principles of like what is it that we're actually doing, and why are we restaking, and what can this do to improve crypto, and improve our harden our security of our of our industry, and make our industry more mature over time. And I think that it's important to understand and think why restaking.
Whenever I hear points, I think about my great-great-grandparents used to tell me this story about the TV show they watched called Whose Line Is It Anyway?, in which improv comedians would basically compete for points that were made up and didn't matter. I feel like that's a little bit what's going on with this whole situation. I like your point, Deo, about decentralization, and it actually segues nicely into an article which you'd shared with Leviathan. This is a thread by Micah Zoltu asking if Uniswap has lost the plot and become part of TradFi. And through this, basically, Micah was trying to like run the Uniswap front end, and just taking a look and noticing that a lot of these people who are trying to host the Uniswap front end were getting takedown notices on IPFS, which in some ways he felt was sort of like contrary to the spirit of TradFi. So let's zoom in here on this. What are all your thoughts on this? Is this fair game? Is this like not fair game? What's your take?
expected this, right? Like we've seen the trends with Uniswap doing these kind of things, and like also when I sign up an app, so when I need to sign a message that I agree on the terms and conditions, I get very worried about like we shouldn't, we should really watch out and try to again go back to first principles, and I don't think we should go in these directions. And if you scroll down, and actually I would like to recommend everybody to listen that article at the last part here. That article that you can open, and it actually gives also some recommendations of what we as an industry can do to actually harden and make sure that there is no there's ways to mitigate this, and ways to basically say to Uniswap like we do not accept this kind of behavior.
Well, can we talk about the actual issue here, which is that the main issue is just the logo usage. So it was perfectly fine for this dev to take off the Uniswap logo, not have it on there, and run the front end like that. But the issue was more about branding, and I think that people raised in the comments that there's a lot of like scam sites that are running like a fork of Uniswap with the full branding, and then have malicious code in it. And so the legal teams at Uniswap are essentially going after these scam sites, and looks like his site, which was non-malicious, was pulled into it just because of these reasons. But he does say in the Twitter thread that he was able to relaunch the site without any sort of logos or branding. It still works perfectly fine, and he doesn't have any issues now.
Does he charge a UI tax?
No UI tax. And a lot of people ask like, hey, can't you just use an aggregator? And I think his response was that the aggregators are not fully censorship resistant and trustless.
That's something I've really honestly never understood about the Uniswap users. I get that they are a number of people who are like wildly loyal to using the Uniswap front end instead of aggregators. And in fact, willing to pay like the tax to do so. And good on Uniswap for building such a great UI that people are willing to pay to use it. But like, what's the like use case there? Like, do you understand that psychology? Like, I always use DeFi Llama Swap. Sometimes it goes through Uniswap, sometimes it goes through Curve. Like, I just want the best rate. Who are these people who don't care about the rate and are just like so loyal to the front end? Do you guys have any sense of that psychology?
I think it's people that it's much easier to trust a famous brand like Uniswap that much more people know. And I think that in our circles, it's much easier to actually go with something like DeFi Llama Swap and whatever, because it's already the consensus within our like niche community. But outside in the bigger like DeFi community, I think it's just so much easier to people to trust the only brand they know, where to like the only DEX. I think that still, as far as I know it's weird for us, but I think that the majority of people, they only know about one DEX, and it's Uniswap. Still.
Yeah, and they've had an amazing marketing campaign. Like I know that like I get a lot of ads for Uniswap still, even like following me to like corners of my life where I don't think I should be getting crypto ads.
What I actually mean is that for normies, for example, if there's one DEX that they know, it's Uniswap, because you know what I mean? Because they heard of A16Z, whatever. Like it's much easier to know about it than to know about I don't know, CowSwap or DeFi Llama Swap. You actually trade on chain, and you start doing stuff, and you start like following the actual community that actually does it. What are the chances that you'll still do it through the Uniswap interface? Like I don't like same here as Garrett. I don't understand like the benefits for those who actually use like choose it, like despite the fact that they know about places like the aggregators. Because me, ever since I've started using aggregators, and especially DeFi Llama Swap these past few months, shout out, honestly, a much better experience for me, and feels like I'm not paying the same fees.
Yeah, I almost think of it as like people use Internet Explorer instead of Brave.
Who are those people?
At least you get one on. Let's get a Uniswap loyalist like who will only use the UI, having used DeFi Llama Swap. Anyway, Dale, what were you about to say?
It's a DeFi Llama swap now, like the Linux of operating system of DEXs, maybe then, because we're using it. It's much more flexible, quicker, and everything. But maybe it's overwhelming for a lot of people, right? I think like the Uniswap interface is so easy, so people are just getting overwhelmed by too much things. I guess I don't know. It's confusing, and also MetaMask, right? MetaMask swap is also
Another good
making a
one,
lot
yeah.
of money.
Not good one, but a highly used one. It's so convenient, right?
It's very convenient.
Yeah. When you think about it, actually, something like Uniswap has one step less than when you use DeFi Llama Swap, because when you use DeFi Llama Swap, you have to choose where you do your trade from. And I don't know, maybe some people are suspicious. They see a name of a DEX that they don't know, and they, should I really take it or whatever?
I'm actually very bullish on like AI agents, as I said in the beginning. I think maybe like GUIs will not be that important anymore in the future. You can just like say like, hey, please take my ETH for me, and then that's just gonna happen. I do see a future.
Well,
where...
if you tell me that, I can do that if you want, Theo.
Yeah. You gotta volunteer.
Yeah, I got to volunteer.
Yeah, that's
always
my
first.
AI agent.
Always first.
I thought it was NSA agent, no, or AI agent. Okay.
All right, so I guess we'll just leave it at we're boomers. We understand, like we're not hip with what the kids are doing. The kids are all using Uniswap. Let's talk about something a little bit more near and dear to the flywheel, which is the relaunch. Don't call it a comeback. Call it a relaunch of Conic Finance. So, huge congratulations to the Conic team. We were trying to get someone on who could be around to discuss the kind of progress. Unfortunately, like the entire team is like, as is tradition for a lot of Curve flywheel teams, like unwilling to like voice or video docs. So it's going to be on us to talk about the implications of Conic Finance V2 and their relaunch. So for those of you who are,
and they've upgraded their site. They've gone from Windows 95 to some Apple.
Windows 2000. Oh yeah, it's more Apple. You're right.
No, this is Apple. Look, they got the Safari logo down here and everything. Terminal.
Garrett, by the way, can you maybe share a bit of an introduction to the story for the viewers who may not be familiar with?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me pull up a tab here, which I think does a good job of telling the whole story. So this is the DeFi Llama tracking of Conic Finance. You can see it launched last March. At the time, it was basically just offering a few different Omni pools, had USDC, and what happened is you'd put your USDC in there, and then the Conic Finance DAO would be voting on how to allocate that liquidity amongst Curve pools. So this is single-sided staking. The idea was like, that like Conic would become its own layer atop the sort of like Curve wars, where people would be trying to acquire Conic to figure out how to steer to within the Omni pools. And they launched a Curve USD Omni pool, which was itself like extremely successful. So around the time of Curve USD launching, about 70% of the liquidity for Curve USD was actually just like deposited right in the Conic Finance Omni pool. Is like $100 million nearly worth of TVL out of a total of $150 million TVL. This is also like very interesting to the Curve USD dynamics, because it was like the supply sink for Curve USD. So it was actually just directly affecting borrowing rates. And then there was a very, very minuscule bug in the Conic Finance contracts about reentrancy. And basically it was not properly checking for the difference between WETH, wrapped Ethereum, and Ethereum, exposing it to reentrancy bug. And very quickly there was like a massive exploit on the Ethereum pool, and additional vulnerabilities were found. Conic Finance had to shut down. And as you can see, within a matter of months, 150 million plummeted to about zero as the team went back into rebuilding everything, building up more resilient contracts, and relaunching. And you can see they just relaunched yesterday and quickly accumulated about $27 million in one day. So Puffer Finance-esque numbers in terms of its ability to quickly attract liquidity.
Well, Conic's kind of the holy grail for Curve, right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
If it works.
Can you explain, Sam? Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, it all comes back down to this like omnipool liquidity, and maybe Garrett, you can talk more about how that works. But from what I understand, Conic is supposed to be like the largest sink for like single-sided liquidity coming into Curve.
Yeah, so it has kind of interesting dynamics because at the time of the hack, one of the issues essentially was that there was so much Curve USD floating into the Curve USD Omni pool, which then got put back into several of the PegKeeper pools, which essentially the entire ecosystem interpreted as there's a glut of available supply for Curve USD. And there wasn't enough other like USDC, for example. That was causing basically like severe peg stress because there was so much Curve USD being flooded into the pools. And there was a really active push to basically get more USDC onto Conic into the Curve USDC Omni pools to try and sort of balance it out. Like there had been such a like Conic had been so successful, it was like massively imbalancing the system, which meant that some good things and some bad things for Curve USD. The bad thing was that like it dramatically like hurt the peg, relatively speaking. So it was a bit tougher for Curve USD to kind of hit that dollar mark. The good news is that it kind of kept Curve USD rates artificially low, if I recall.
I see.
I mean, that's good. I mean, everybody likes low borrowing rates.
Well, it depends. If
Yeah,
you want to, if you want to be able to say like, look how much in fees Curve USD is making, then you want the double digits, 20%.
Garrett, can I maybe ask you about like, especially as following up Sam's question, like, what's the bullish case in your mind with Conic? Like, in which scenario does it really become like I don't know, one of the key elements within the Curve ecosystem? Really, I don't know, pushing forward maybe TVL and that kind of stuff. And also maybe after that, what are like some of the risks with going that route of that specific kind of omni-chain design? I'm not sure how to say it.
Yeah. I should preface this by saying that like most Curve ecosystem assets, like I own some Conic. It's like a small amount. It's like a few $100. But like that's a lot for me because I'm poor. So I'm invested in Conic's success. I'd say the bull case for Conic is sort of like similar to the bull case for Convex, where like there's a million tokens out there and like they all promise governance, and in most cases the governance is like flimsy and useless. But if it actually gets to the point where protocols are looking to incentivize liquidity and they think that Conic is the like most effective place to they think it's best just let's buy some Conic, take part in the Conic wars and use that to steer liquidity. You could see like major stable coins, like for example, like I could imagine a universe where like Frax or PYUSD sees like more utility in simply controlling the Omni pools because Conic has such a significant control over the liquidity. That's why I'd say be like the super hyper bull case for Conic. Let me pull up the thread really quickly by friend of Leviathan, the science guy. What's his name?
Yeah. And I would like to add there as well for the team, like it's impressive because designing these kind of omni pools like over different curve, it's impressive how they build it, and it's also always impressive to see like a restart after an unfortunate event, keep pressing forward and then restarting in a very good way. I think that's very good and positive to see, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's been like a variety of like, just sledgehammers hitting the Curve ecosystem. So it's been, for a Curve maximalist like myself, it's been, occasionally tough several months. Getting to see Conic relaunch though is like really heartening because it could have been just incredibly easy for the team to just be like, nah, we're done, we give up. But they actually went back and came out and built something like way better in my estimation. So let me go ahead and pull up this thread by Small Cap Science. And this is early thread, 10-hour mark. Conic was at about $6 million. It, as mentioned, it's now up to like 20, almost 30 something. And Small Cap Science is like super bullish on Conic. So here they describe the LST and LRT potential implications, which actually might be interesting for you to comment on that, Deo, since you're like the resident expert on restaking.
Sure. Do you want to walk us through the thread?
Yeah. So it's
So
yeah,
I
here's-
can, yeah. Okay, go for it. Sorry.
Oh, right. So Small Cap Science is pointing out that like instead of renting liquidity with gauges, you could basically direct a percent of TVL stake to single-sided liquidity. So it's like does a much better job of guaranteeing liquidity. The example that Small Cap brings up is if he's Prisma Finance looking for MKUSD liquidity, wants 150 million in MKUSD. Currently, you need to maybe incentivize balancer or a curve convex and try and like fragment all your like attention. With omnipools, you could like say, all right, well, I own 10% of VLC and C. Why don't I just direct like 10% of USDC towards the MKUSD LP? And that like right there would do it. And then the other thing that like Small Cap Science brings up is that like it had a lot of traction. Like in the bear market, it went from $0 to $60 million, like just like that. So there's clear product market fit. As far as token price, like it was, for those who are speculators, again, this is financial advice. Conic was trading between $2 and $12. It's been around like $3 since it relaunched. And one of the investors is New Mitch Will. He's a smart guy, so he probably knows something.
Yeah.
So are we going to be looking at Conic at the end of the year in like, what is it, 9-figure territory in a couple $100 million, maybe $500 million worth of TVL?
I'd say it's possible. Like they've launched with just 3 tokens now: CurveUSD, USDC, and Ethereum. But there's like sort of no shortage for what they could actually add on.
Wait until they add LRTFI. It's gonna explode. Everybody's gonna. I think it's very positive because you also for liquidity providers, right? Like if you're they upgraded to an Apple interface probably for a reason, make it very easy for users. If you want an LP and you not want to switch pools all the time, I have this myself also all the time, and in one curve pool that I really like, and then suddenly the incentive go lower in that specific epoch, right? And then it's like, oh, I have to switch pools. And with Conic, it's automatically rerouted to the best pools with the highest liquidity and return. So it's really nice set and forget kind of LPing. Yeah.
Can we go back up? Can you go back up a little bit, like 2 tweets?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to look at the CNC price bull case right here. So maybe we can zoom in on this. So he said, based on V1 performance, use cases above, and the investors on board, I believe the below cases are fair assumptions for Conic. So he expects about $500 million worth of TVL. That's what we were talking about, $500 million. There's 10% APR and 10% platform fee. That's about $5 million. In the bull, he's looking at $1 billion worth of TVL, and high bull, $2.5 billion worth of TVL. So somewhere between like $5 million to $25 million worth of fees coming into Conic a year. There's 10 million CNC tokens, and the project, when he wrote about this, was sitting at $12 million. Now it's sitting at $24 million market cap. And so can you go down a little bit here? So using a FTV and price PF ratio of 15, so the expected price he's looking at is $7.50 per CNC. In the bull case, it'll be about $15 worth of CNC, and in the high bull case, $37.50 per CNC. Right now, it's trading at $3.61. So in that kind of mid bull case, he's looking at $15, somewhere between $15 to $20. It's still like a 5x from here. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable and good forward-looking price to pick up some CNC at. Obviously, it would have been nice to pick some up at $1 a couple of months ago, but that time has come and gone. We're in a new era.
The second best time to acquire Conic is today.
Exactly.
Only in crypto we can say, we can do 5x on the money, pretty reasonable. And
I mean, it's small caps. I mean, the market cap of this, fully diluted market cap of Conic's $20 million right now. Like to think that it goes to $100 million based on what did he say? Like $5 million revenue and 20x like market cap on top of that. I mean, that's $100 million right there. So
in the long run, I think it can actually go much bigger than that. But honestly, who knows? Because like,
well, we know because that's why we're here talking about it.
yeah,
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the sort of bear case against omnipools in general, which
Ooh.
I'm speaking as someone who I'm speaking as someone who owns some Conic, and I'm hoping that they've cracked the formula. But basically, like the knock against omnipools had been that every time it had been tried, it had failed. So it sounds great in theory. It's like communism, but like every time it gets practiced, like people get hurt. So, and this is like
I think I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, so it's like if you think about it,
no, Garrett, go ahead and cook.
It makes sense, right? Like if you have USDC and USDC is safe, you consider it like it's never going to depeg, which it did, but like let's say USDC is perfectly safe. In order to have the Conic formula work, it's going to be staking USDC into a pool with something else in it. So you're necessarily going to be exposed to a stable coin that's weaker and has some risk of depeg. So there's like always the risk of depeg, and that's sort of like unavoidable. It's like you hold USDC by itself, and presuming it's safe, like that's fine. But as you start to like add other like constituents of the omnipool, like then you're just exposing greater and greater risk with each new exposure that you get.
Yeah, but can the risk
actually looks like the most risky narrative, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, like I noticed that like small
that's
cap
why we
science
talked about it as the holy grail, right? If they can nail the liquidity provision across a bunch of different pools with different risk variables and get the returns that they're hoping to get, I mean, then you've nailed it.
Right.
I'm actually becoming most interested within all this omnichain stuff with what Layer 0 is trying to do, and like I don't know, stuff like DAO and that stuff.
Yeah, but look here. Let's look at this picture that Garrett's pulled up, right? So is this the split of the omni pools right now? So the top pool is USDC, and then Curve USD, and then there's a DAI USDC, probably USDT pool, a Frax
I'm not sure if this is current or if this is historical, but like look at that MIM one right there. Like just over the past week, we've seen like a pretty bad MIM depeg event. So
yeah,
if Conic is efficient and able to withdraw liquidity before any MIM depeg event, great. But like in practice, like DAOs are not that fast. So
yeah, it doesn't work like that. I don't know if you remember Grow DAO, like Grow.xyz.
No, I don't.
Something similar to this, where they would kind of take in stables and then they would allocate them to various stable pools, and then there was like a leveraged version and an unleveraged version, and unfortunately, they made a bad decision to allocate heavily into the Luna UST pool. It was like the main Curve pool at the time. And sure, it was earning good yields, but they got caught flat out. And the people who were in the leveraged vaults that they had took about a 25% haircut on what should have been like pure stable exposure. And I think the thing is that like it's a little bit, these omni pools are a little bit dangerous, right? Because like as a person, you come in and you put your tokens into it, right? And the dynamics and the allocations are going to shift on like a weekly basis as liquidity gets moved around. There's different yield opportunities in different pools, and so you might deposit when there's one type of allocation structure that's happening. And then 3 months down the line, if the DAO makes a bad decision about where to allocate funds into, let's say they had allocated, heavy into MIM because the rewards were high and they were chasing profits, and MIM depegs, you could lose 3, 4, 5, 10% of the capital that's there just based on the exposure.
Yeah. So, it's worth pointing out Conic thinks they've solved it. There's also, like, just to bring to people's attention, other attempts at omnipools. So Tsunami Protocol was another big one. Disclosure also, partially like have exposure to Tsunami. They've been pushing omnipools. They also got hacked. So it's like sort of like for those of us who like want to see omnipools succeed, Like, I don't think anyone considers the hacks that hit these two protocols to be like themselves condemning the like possibility of like omnipools being successful. Like
Yeah.
the real question is, can like an omnipool with no bugs in its code actually succeed? Conic looked like it was doing it, but yeah, it's who knows. It's risky.
Yeah.
Buy
You know, I
mutual
really-
funds.
Yeah, by mutual funds.
And last
I-
thing,
I-
they pay out in CRV USD, so the yield, that's kind of cool. Like if you stake, you get CRV USD rewards, and you can then bond your CRV USD C and C CRV USD rewards for discounted CNC. So kind of really cool how they implemented that small
Yeah, they-
detail there.
Yeah, they added a bunch of cool features for V2, so it's gonna be
Yeah,
really interesting to see how that
amazing.
plays out.
Yeah. And it in the stablecoin space, like it's really unfortunate that like, you know, you're pushing for stable returns, but there's so much risk that's involved within it, right? That, you know, I would love to be like unbelievably bullishly long on omnipools and what they can offer, and there's just a level of exposure there. And I hate to be cynical. Honestly, this is my like biggest like hang up, is that like I'm cynical at this point. And I think I'm like long-term bullish on everything, but at the same time, there's these like risk events that the unknowns that we don't know about that can really just throw a wrench in everything.
I show that
No.
cynicism, to be honest, because I'm like super hardcore into DeFi and have been for the past few years. But when I do an honest accounting, like the only time I've made money in crypto, it's been like, you know, significant money, not like, you know, a few percent here or there. It's been Bitcoin. Like I had Bitcoin from 2014 that went up a lot. I then like focused on crypto and mixed results.
Mhm.
But maybe it's also the time element, Garrett, don't you think? Because like you started with Bitcoin in 2014, but with like more complex DeFi stuff, you haven't been doing it for the same amount of time as well. So
No, it's because everyone's
it
dumping
can
on each
definitely
other, rug pulling everyone else. Like,
Yeah, I know. But here's the other side of the coin. Like if you're always happy with something, you're never going to build anything, right? You're never going to like actually see the evolution of any sort of environment. You kind of have to be unhappy with things to make a change in the world, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, frustration is the mother of innovation.
I think Garrett's gonna build the best DeFi protocol soon.
No, like my takeaway from it is that a watched bag never pumps. Like whenever you're like focused on any bag that you want to go up, it's the other bag you're not paying attention to that pumps.
Of course, and you always have to sell your bags at the lows before they pump. That always happens to me. I've got many stories, even from just recently, of you know, like selling things way too early and just to cover some bills or something, or pay for something, God knows what.
Buy some sushi.
for me personally, it's the opposite. Like in the previous bull market, I just couldn't let go. I just didn't know when to sell, and if I knew when to sell, like at some point, like these amounts, like at least like for someone like me, that was like surreal money. Okay, but I just couldn't. Like I had no idea when to sell, so I just held and kept telling myself, yeah, but it can still go 5x. It can still go 10x for here. It can still go 50x for here.
Oh,
Like,
man.
All right.
We're
Well,
all
let's,
still
I-
haters.
you know what it actually taught me? It taught me that that's the whole point of like at least one of the points of not being greedy is that when you're greedy, you actually have at the end less money.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works
Alright.
out. Just buy,
Well,
don't
let's
sell.
let's shift subjects briefly to a token that could do a 100x.
Oh my God. There we go. YouTube algorithm is gonna like that.
I think maybe Yield Nest.
The hidden gems. What kind of
This,
hidden gems are you offering?
So this comes to us from a Leviathan News correspondent, DeFi Advisor, who says, scooping the launch of Convergence Finance.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, nice.
So this is we're trying to get Wireshark. He was supposed to come on this Friday, today actually, but he was too busy with all the stuff going on. But hopefully we'll get him on the next like week or two to talk about the launch. Convergence Finance is aiming to be basically, as they call it, like a meta governance black hole for the Flywheel ecosystem. They're starting with StakeDAO and then planning to move to several of the other protocols around the Curve ecosystem, including Conic, possibly some others. What are your thoughts on this? And I could disclose that I don't own any conversions, so I can. I wish I did. I don't own any conversions.
know,
The token generation is coming up soon.
Actually, Cap, in the background, you will own some CVG because as a llama, the llamas are getting a CVG airdrop. Did you hear about it?
Excellent.
And it's all going to the treasury. They thought about it for a while, but the whole amount is going to go to the llama's treasury, and they're going to lock it, and they're going to just add it to the flywheel with the CVG airdrop.
So maybe I'm just like thick here, but we had the convergence guys on, and they were saying a lot of smart stuff. But from what I understand, it's just it's just like an aggregation layer for everything DeFi. Is that what it does? Meta governance layer. Can you explain that a bit more, Garrett?
Why don't I kick it to DeFi Advisor since you had the scoop on it, and you're in the Discord.
I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough to do other than scooping it. Like, because to me, I actually my question is not exactly like Sam's, but it's like, isn't it very similar to convex in a way? Like, how do I explain the exact difference between convex and this one to someone?
All right. Well, let's go ahead and pull up a thread from Leviathan News junior correspondent Curve Cap. Wrote
The OG, you mean?
Wrote a very lengthy thread on convergence. So, as mentioned, they describe themselves as a meta-governance black hole atop different DeFi protocols, and in doing so, they are very clearly evoking convex. But they also mentioned that they have borrowed some elements from Curve Finance, like gauges and Olympus DAO. Particularly with the bonding that they're doing. So they've got a few extra mechanisms sprinkled atop. They've been focusing on this since 2022, and the white paper's linked there for anyone who's interested. They hit their launch date of February 1st, at least in some time zones. And first up is this kind of complex diagram for how it is layering itself into the stake DAO ecosystem.
Can you make that picture bigger?
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring this up here. So, answers all the questions, right?
Yeah, it's all clear now. Thanks.
Explain it like I'm 5.
Oh gosh, I wish I was smart enough to
Okay.
Explain it like I'm 4 in that case.
Okay. I've got some stuff here. Okay, so SDT is the governance token of stake DAO, right? It has a VE system. And owning VE-STT allows you to vote for gauge weights and then obtain boosts on yields, right? So CVG-STT is a liquid and tradable version of the VE-locked STT, right? And they'll be able to convert it into this liquid token, benefit from native earnings, and also be liquid as well too. There's going to be a CVG-STT stable pool, and there's going to be boosted staking, a bunch of other stuff. And
I like how in this diagram 4 different sources are dumping on the user. It looks like
At least it seems like they're dropping some frax over there as well, huh?
Perhaps, yeah. Frax is one that was mentioned as one of the protocols convergence might try to target. And yeah, Sam mentioned there is this liquid CVG SDT token, which itself is being split up into a few different tokens. So there's basically tokens for yield, and then 2 tokens for governance rights. So when you're minting staked out CVG, you could just say I like the yield, I don't care about the governance. You could say I'd like the governance for within the convergence ecosystem, which gives you VE-CVG, or if you want governance over staked out, then you get MG-CVG.
Do you like that split? What do you think about the yield governance split when it comes to these meta governance tokens?
Scary, I would say.
It's clean, so that part's nice.
I would say it's scary because you can do governance attacks like that, but they probably have some safeguards for that. But I would like to look into that.
Well, I don't think
elaborate?
there's governance attacks. I mean, it's just the you're just forced to choose, right? It's not something we see in TradFi where they split off the voting rights from yield rights, right?
Yeah, that's new.
I mean, I think it's
Well,
interesting
liquid
because you can get a
lockers. You have liquid lockers that kind of do similar stuff, I guess.
Like the easiest explanation that I've seen is that most people are lazy and are not going to vote for governance, and so like the people that actually do care about governance can own the governance token and actually make the protocol work and direct emissions and vote. And everybody who's just kind of lazy and wants the yield can get the yield.
Yeah. I mean, that's me, right? Like, I am not like, I don't vote on most of the Curve proposals because, like, I'm poor. Like, my vote's not going to make a difference. It's going to cost a ton in gas.
Your
for, like,
name is
5
literally Curve Cap.
Right. It's an aspirational name.
Tell me about it.
But like,
Yeah.
yeah, like there are people out there that like do accumulate these tokens. They don't care about the incidental yield, but they care a lot about the governance, the value of it. So like it's cleaner to me as a split, and it's like nice to me as an observer that I could see how the market values the governance of different protocols.
So there's a lot of similarities to Convex here, but Convex invested into convergence.
What I'm
right?
worried about is that somebody might like buy up a lot of the voting power and then not malicious things and sells the voting power again. But I would look deeper into that. But
Yeah, but we haven't seen that with Convex though. I mean, like look at the biggest Convex. What is it? Not CVX CRV, but the voting power from Convex or the VLCVX, right?
VLCVX.
Yeah, VLCVX. Like it's concentrated within top people. You have to buy it, and then you have to vote lock it as well too. So I don't think it can be gamed in that sense. I wouldn't be worried about that. We've seen it work with Convex. Convex works well, and is able to provide a meta governance layer for Curve. So I don't.
Yeah, no, but I mean more if you split it up, maybe then the other half buys more of it or something. But yeah, if there's lockups, that obviously will solve it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Llama DAO 3%. Let's go. Llama holders 12%.
I know.
That's
Yeah.
like the airdrop distribution. What's that?
Yeah, this is the airdrop. So there's currently going through their token generation event. It's supposed to kick off with the launch of their protocol. So I haven't looked, but I assume it's live. So you might want to take a look if you fall into any of these buckets.
Yeah, so there's going to be 12 weeks of quests, and the tasks are split across 4 types of actions: staking, locking, bonding, and voting. It's going to be a 12-week duration, and there's going to be 750,000 CVG allocated for that. The quests are going to be live soon, I believe. Or are they fully launched? Did they launch yet? But they have all these different
launched, but the token is not out yet.
Oh, okay. So the quests have started then, and they have all these different like campaigns that you can take part in to like buy and bond CVG, like vote on some gauges, deploy some VE CVG, lock some CVG, stake it, convert it, do all that stuff as well too. On their actually, we'll share the medium right now. You can go check it out. But it covers everything that is going to be here, and how the distributions are going to take place, and who gets what.
By the way, do you guys do a lot of this kind of stuff? Quests at Zilly and that kind of stuff?
I have not enough free time to go, but we should follow our like friend of the show, Rectamides, who says that do 10 pull-ups every day, max sets, and then also go do 10 on-chain farming transactions as well too.
Smart guy.
Yes.
Advice,
Do 10 transactions a day. Make them quick. Get it done.
Yeah.
Well, we got you all here. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this tweet from Curve Finance. Or I guess they're called Zeets now, or X-Eats or something. Should we add PYUSD from PayPal and Curve USD's PegKeeper? Pointing to the this pool here, which I don't think is being shared. This is the PYUSD Curve USD pool. I'll pull that up in a separate tab.
Yeah, I think it's very positive to see that, and I wonder when other like companies are going to do this as well, like MasterCard, Visa, other players. probably will follow suit once this is a success. It's still very small. It feels like a test thingy, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's suitable, but there's only $1 million in liquidity at the moment. You have to assume that it's gonna, be significantly higher if it does become a peg keeper pool.
Think about how quickly they could probably make it. I don't know, $1 billion instead of $1 million. No.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm definitely for it. I'm a big fan of PYUSD. There is maybe one perhaps geographic issue in that if this happened then so basically right now there's 4 peg keeper pools: USDC, USDT, USDP, and TUSD. Now TUSD, if anyone's been following, has been kind of going through the ringer a bit lately. And TUSD is I know that blockchains in theory know no borders, but it's the TUSD gives more representation to Eastern Asia, whereas USDC, USDT.
Come on, just say it. It's Justin Sun.
Justin Sun.
It's Justin
There
Sun.
you go.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Well, it's Justin Sun, is a huge part of cryptocurrency.
Justin Sun is a huge part of Curve now.
Yeah, he is.
He bought a fat stack of CRV back when Michael was getting rung through the ringer a little bit.
How much, by the way? How much is he holding?
I don't remember exactly how much. I know there's been some chatter about it in the Telegram. He's also one of the few that didn't sell. Not few, but yesterday
what does he need to sell for? Honestly, what does he need to sell for exactly? You know what I mean?
Yesterday was the big Fudmas day, as I like to call it, because
if I made here and
the CRV that had been purchased OTC from Mitch, basically yesterday, the handshake agreement, so to speak, that prevented people from selling expired, and there's a ton of people that were straight up following it, and it was yet another day that was supposed to be the end of Curve. So DeFi Made Here, who is always raising concerns about Curve in a manner he or she would argue is friendly, is basically took to X to release a thread talking about some of the characters that were selling it and predicting this could be a ticking time bomb for Curve. As with most predictions of Curve's doom, Curve survived. It's lived to fight another day. What do you think? Is Curve a ticking time bomb?
I really like
the answer is yes.
I think that but to the upward. I think that I really like the Curve FUD. There's something about it. It's like it's a big part of the Curve culture actually. To experience the Curve FUD, and also to be honest, from a selfish perspective, I want to accumulate CRV. Again, non-financial advice. Yes. So I enjoy the price being pushed down as long as we can go. I'm on board. I think it's. I really think show me an example of an of a more thriving ecosystem, and I don't know. Share your arguments about how it's going to be more influential than Curve. I don't know. I just don't get it. To me, Curve seems like just the center of DeFi, and it's all my investment thesis almost is, or at least a big part of it is based on this perception of mine.
Yeah, and I would say that Curve is not only just an AMM, it's also a stability mechanism for other pegs, right? Like PayPal USD.
It's also with
look who's lining up to, but look who.
It's money infrastructure. You know what I mean? Exactly. Curve is money infrastructure, and by the way, same for Frax in a way. But I think that honestly, I think that one of the best moves that Frax made was being smart on the Curve game.
Yeah. I mean, but look who actually came in and was OTCing Curve or CRV from Michael last year. So all the big headers: Wintermute, Binance Labs, DFW.
These guys know what they buy. They know what they buy.
Exactly. And most all of them locked it up. I mean, Huobi Founder, immediate lock. Justin Sun, immediate lock. We can assume that you're in finance.
I don't think Justin Sun locked, actually.
He did. No, it went straight into V CRV. Yeah.
I was reading the Curve channel, which I can't share due to technical limitations, and the Curve followers on the Curve social channel have been saying that he didn't lock, and like it was kind of a mistake. But the joke was like, well, he's so rich, like it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah. also, I think soon after he OTC'd that, there was a couple of additions to Curve for specific just in Sun like stable coins. And Curve launched on Tron. Is Curve launched on Tron? Am I thinking
Curve is not yet launched on Tron, but there is some. If you read through the code base, looks like there's some like hints that it may launch on Tron.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, Tron, as much as I have, like, I don't use Tron myself, but I can tell you that, again, I've been saying it pretty often. People around here on this side of the world, they kind of like Tron. Like most people here, for example, they won't accept my like money for me on Arbitrum, or I don't know, or many of the other like L2s that I explore. But they will accept Tron, and I personally don't use it. But with this Ethereum mainnet, most of them are already agreeable as well. And again, but like I've been telling you guys often, here it's USDT. Like here, no one actually wants USDC. Here as you go to the east, the paradigm is very different on this side of the world.
Can I ask you guys a question and be honest with me? If Tron were to flip Solana in terms of market cap, so Tron's sitting at about $10 billion in market cap, Solana is about 40 right now. If Tron was to flip Solana this year, would that be surprising for you?
No.
Yeah, I'd say the same as well too.
Well, I don't know.
I know it may be distasteful, right, to our boomer selves who just like Ethereum L2s and everything connected with it.
I think it did flip in. I think it already flipped. If you look at DeFi Llama,
in terms of TV, or in terms of TVL, or I was just talking about the Tron token.
In terms of TVL, Tron is second. It's flipping BSC, Arbitrum, and Solana is at 5th place in terms of TVL.
It's a more interesting metric, to be honest, than the token price itself.
Well, you could put the TVL of Tron is bigger than Binance, Smart Chain, Arbitrum, and Solana combined.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, people are literally using it because they don't like. It's cheap, and again, it has that brand name already. It's like I mentioned earlier with Uniswap. It's much easier to choose with something that they already feel is working, and after that to switch. By the way, it's the same with everything with wallet. You know, why not switch to Rabbi? Because we're used to MetaMask, and it's the better decision to take, but often it's not that simple to take it.
And Rabbi gives points.
Rabbi does give points. Speaking of Rabbi,
great interface.
Please sign up for Rabbi.
And you said that there was a code. There's a Leviathan code, you say? What does it mean? Did we get points?
The $5. So you can use Leviathan News as the code. The $5 that we get back from the points that we eventually sell, we'll use to fund operations here at Leviathan News. You know, we need your support to continue our daily news gathering and to run the show. So we have a donation link down in the show notes. If it's not there, then come pop into our group chat, follow us on Telegram, and you can find it there. And then also use all the referral codes as well too. They're connected to the multisig, and so
you know what else we should do? We should ask the audience actually what kind of referral codes they want us to get, because they know best, honestly.
Yeah, and Talon is right here. Tron adoption in Nigeria, completely true here. It's just a incredible growth story that has been underreported pretty much everywhere else. And it's not just Nigeria as well too. It's also Southeast Asia and other parts of China as well. Nigeria
is a huge market, though. You know what? When I used to do another day in crypto, the Substack, I had like the 2 countries that I had most like subscribers from were the US and Nigeria.
Do you remember a few years ago when Nigeria banned cryptocurrency? It didn't seem to work out so well for them.
Yeah, the bans never really worked. Yeah.
No, because in this kind of states, in Africa, and in South America, and probably in other places around the world as well, here in the Middle East as well, and certainly in some places.
I'm kind of surprised that they cannot ban.
It's more reliable. Like people are running to this kind of money because their money is horrible.
Well, the money change shops just work differently in those parts of the world. I mean, if you go to Argentina, there's a place to exchange pesos for Tether pretty much everywhere. And it's the easiest way to bring cash dollars into the country. You think beforehand to get dollars into some of these countries like Argentina or Southeast Asia, you had to bring like literal suitcases full of cash in somehow. And now you can just, fire up a transaction on Tron and send $10,000 over.
So the image on screen here is from Vitalik's latest blog post on how he's now a boomer. Good post. And if you notice, like Nigeria within Africa is like the largest share of developers in the entire continent. So
wow, that's great.
Very cool stuff. I think we got to wrap up with the most important story, which is Deo. Your beverage has been delivered. What have you been consuming? Llama party.
Well, it's almost already empty. I wanted to announce it, but I didn't want to interrupt too much with this important news. It's a honey banana juice. Let's go. Fresh, delivered.
That's nice.
Is this serious? Do you really have a juice that you're selling, or what?
I'm joking.
I wanted to buy.
I'm joking. It's yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap things up. This has been another Leviathan News Llama Party. We are here every Friday. We try and bring in guests, or sometimes we just like hang out with the boys and talk about crypto stuff. So we'll be back next week. Leviathan News will have, as always, like amazing guests throughout the week. So make sure you subscribe.
Amen.
Make sure you follow. Make sure you've hit all of our referral links so we could maybe buy one Convergence or buy one Conic token. And put that in the Leviathan treasury.
Or one Lambo. Did you see that on the bunny, on Back the Bunnies, on Rabbit, on the referral show? You can win a Lambo if you create $10 billion TVL or something like that.
Oh yeah, sorry, Dimitri. We're gonna make a referral code for RabbitX. We're sorry, we've just been lazy. I meant to do that today.
Yeah, we'll look pretty sweet rolling up to ETH Denver in our Back the Bunny themed Lambo. We gotta do that.
Yeah. I hope everyone. I want to get some Rabbit. Hopefully, RabbitX is at ETH Denver. I really want some good swag. So.
I think Back the Bunny's.
Are you going, Sam? Are you going there?
I'm going. Garrett's gonna be there.
We have to do some content in that case.
We will.
Yeah. We'll definitely have a Leviathan live stream.
Yeah.
That's going to be amazing. You going as well, guy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? Wow. That's great. So cool.
We're going to
we can do some amazing stuff. If you two are there, we can do amazing stuff. You going as well, Gail, by the way?
We can do amazing stuff anywhere, DeFi Advisor.
That's true. But it will be amazing to have you guys actually there. We can do we can go all Hollywood on it. You know what I mean?
we should get the live stream camera out.
I'm serious. We should get a camera guy with you guys and edit some stuff out of it. It can be insane, guys. This can be our craziest content yet by far.
Yeah, I got a press badge.
Press entrance with the press card and everything.
Did you get a press badge, Carrot?
Oh, I did not. No.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, come on, talk to someone. What
do you do? We're Leviathan News. I mean,
I'm not even joking. Get this. They will. Who should we talk to? Let's talk about it after the show. We should definitely. We'll
do a live podcast there. We'll get set up.
All right.
It'll be insane. Wow. It'll be insane.
All right.
Wow, I didn't know that you guys are going, man. This is so
it will be done.
I think you just called it. We're gonna revert this conversation to only members of the what's it called, the Leviathan Cyber Caliphate.
Yeah, we're changing that. We're gonna go to. It's becoming the Squid Cave today. So.
Squid Cave. All right, Squid Cave assemble. Everyone else, if you don't have the link, hit us up.
Squids are not kosher, but still.
Yeah, guys, join the Telegram, join the YouTube. Let's go.
All right, Squid Cave.